Now it's time for the fireside chat session with two panelists, Mr. Guru Prakash Rayasa, Country Head of Sales NSS India Keysight, and Mr. Harsh Marwa, Chief Growth Officer iValue Info Solutions. I request to join Dr. Deepak Kumar Sahu, Chief Editor VAR India, to moderate this session.
My question to Keysight is, a healthy partner ecosystem is crucial for any business to succeed. How do you see your partner ecosystem maturing?
Yep. Mr. Deepak, if you look at the India geography, it's a pretty vast, vibrant, and diversified cultural, geography. One, and then the second, our focus is on the enterprise market. So when you say enterprise market, it again, I mean, if you look at the India geography, it's a very, very, very vast and a very maturing market. To address this particular market, though we have a state of the art, the best of the best products and solutions, we have the world leading legacy of our 75 years of history of Keysight. And also we have some of the best talent in the industry in our portfolio, right? But still, to reach out to the customer, to have the touch points, a partner ecosystem is extremely, extremely important. Keysight adopts a two-tiered partner ecosystem where we have a value-added distributor. When I say value-added, he really brings a value. It's not just a distributor where you stock and sell, right? He sells a product along with the various other components of the solutions with a value proposition to the customer. And that's where, we choose iValue. And iValue has a very, very vast experience in the enterprise industry, ITES industry, and also government and defense plus the telecom sector. They do a lot of due diligence when they are choosing their resellers, who are actually meeting with the customer. And they involve in completely stitching the deal along with their reseller to the end customer. So it's not that they are a stock and sell, organization. They bring a lot of value, and that's why we, after a lot of deliberation, we choose iValue to sell our products in the enterprise market, and they can bring a lot of value to the end customer along with the various other components. And that's the reason a partner ecosystem becomes a very, very critical for us in managing, in growing the enterprise market for us.
Wonderful. So Horst, if I can ask you, you must be seeing a plethora of security tools and services flooding the Indian market. What is the uniqueness of your relationship with Keysight?
Thanks, Deepak. And first of all, thanks for organizing and congrats for organizing CDDS 21. You've always been at the helm of affairs, bringing everyone together. So thanks for doing that. So I think to answer your question, Deepak, I have to give a little background of Keysight. I think if you look at Keysight, they have a very, very strong and amazing heritage in designing, testing, and measuring the technologies and equipments across the IT estates, whether it is networks, telecom infrastructure, cloud, application, and so on and so forth. And I think with this leadership and vast experience and exposure, this is very relevant in today's parlance where every single organization has a cybersecurity first mandate. Now, if you look at the cybersecurity world and the way enterprises have typically built their infrastructure, as you rightly said, there are a plethora of tools, technologies, and point products. And there have been huge amount of induction of these tools, technologies, and point products left, right, and center over the years. I think the time has come to really measure the efficacy of these technologies and test the equipments which are so-called supposed to be fortifying the customer's environments. Now, you pick and choose just a very compelling technology from Keysight, which is a threat simulator, which obviously is based on a very, very strong experience and exposure in testing and measuring the cybersecurity readiness, and also has been very strongly backed by the researchers which they have all across the globe. And what this compelling technology does is you can actually do an attack breach simulation. By doing this, what you do is you not only test the technologies and the equipment and the point products which have been inducted in the enterprise security infrastructure, but also test the readiness of the so-called cyber defense team, the people, their skill. And, you know, as we say that defense is as good as the way you test it, right? And there has to be a very strong balance between defense and offense. I think a time has come where you have to think like a hacker. And before the hackers typically compromise the critical infrastructure of the good guys and the businesses, I think it's time to identify and address those gaps using some of the key technologies from Keysight, one of which I mentioned. So I think it is all about really getting into the act, think like a hacker, understanding with a very strong understanding of the latest tools, techniques, and procedures. And this is what the threat simulator from Keysight does. And this is just one example, and there are many more.
Okay, wonderful. So if I can ask, how are you seeing business 1 year down the line, Guru?
Yeah, very good question. And if you look at in the today's environment, you know, post the lockdown or post the corona, I mean, ever since the corona hit all of us, right? There has been a new habit has been developed among the consumers, and the new habit is the working from home and using the e-commerce for all their needs, and then all the digital transition or the digital transaction, be it finance, be it voice, video, data, or even for the e-commerce. There's been a new habit which has been developed by a lot of a lot of people. And this has created a lot of pressure on the network and the security infrastructure of the providers, be it financial institutions, be it an e-commerce or a cloud provider. With the new attacks and breaches evolving every day, we see that there is a lot of awareness about the security in the Indian market, and then we see this market will only grow for all of us in terms of providing more and more technical solution. And also the CISOs and the CIOs now started thinking, how can I best utilize my existing infrastructure with a minimal CapEx or the OpEx investment? That's where it's been, there's been a lot of thinking going on, and this market will continue to grow. And then cyber security will always be there, because there is always somewhere or the other cyber breach, and then the cyber threat is happening every day. And I would like to endorse, what Harsha said, that now the CISOs and the CIOs, they have to start thinking like a hacker. So, thank you.
Lastly, Harsh, if you can give some light on how has Corona changed the way we interact with customers, and are these changes here to stay?
Yeah, so Deepak, I think I would split this into 4 parts, and in continuation to what Guru just spelled out. I think I would like to touch upon the people aspect. I would like to touch upon the business dynamics, the existing technologies of the customers, and also transitioning from traditional ways of working with traditional technologies to new generation technology. Now, coming to the first one, which is people, I think compulsively we all started working from home. Okay, and within few days we realized that the entire infrastructure where we used to work in typically a castle and moat model has virtually come upside down. We started working from homes. We were all exposed to the internet. We use a phrase that internet is the new corporate network and cloud is the new data center, right? And people working from home are the new perimeter. Now, this is what happened from a cybersecurity perspective. From the other perspective is that we compulsively had to start interacting with the customers, doing negotiations, seeding solutions on phone, which on calls, on virtual mediums, which perhaps we were never used to. I think this hard learning has come to us, to all of us in the last 9 to 12 months in a very compulsive manner, where that emotional touch, face-to-face meetings are not there, yet we have to derive results out. So I think it's here to stay. I think there's going to be a strong balance between the traditional working and the new working. The second part is, I think, the businesses. I think we must realize that businesses have transitioned from so-called a growth mode to a controlled mode. And what typically happens from a growth mode to a controlled mode, and even I would say an existence mode, is every single solution which you share with the customer or you try to seed with the customer is going to be thoroughly scrutinized by the financial folks, right? Correct. The CFOs and the entire financial organization of the customer. So it is very important to really get geared and understand the pain points of the customers, their businesses, before really seeding those solutions. There'll be no buying which will happen for some time, which is good to have. It will only be must to have. That's the second spin. The third is, I think, what we all realized, including the entire IT organizations of the businesses, is that the tools and technologies which were already there in the customer environment perhaps were not configured and could have been configured to achieve better outcome and performance. Because the first mandate given so-called by the organizations to the IT fraternity was try to use the equipments, technologies, which you've already invested in. And I think that was a hard learning. And I think the IT folks did a great job. The IT fraternity did a great job. Lastly, I think it is very, very evident that we have moved from so-called a hardware-led to a software-led technology. And this acceleration has really seen a huge growth in the last 9 to 12 months. So whether it is software-led technologies, whether it is cloud adoption acceleration, which has happened much faster than the way it was happening, or things like managed services, because finally, end of the day, customer says, I'm not interested in what you give me in terms of a green color or a red color or a blue color box. End of the day, meet my SLAs. And finally, I think coming to the cybersecurity world, it's all about training. And in the new ways and means of doing the businesses, people working from home, the organization's perimeters have completely got diffused. Everything has got liberated. And with a huge amount of human capital deficit, I think training is becoming a very, very integral part of running the businesses in a digital way with a lot of digital transformation happening. So I think these are the 4 areas. And I principally feel that a lot of these things, the new skills, the new ways of working are going to stay. And I think it's a challenge which has given us a lot of opportunity to develop new skills and ways of working.
Thank you very much, Guru and Harsh, for joining the Fireside Chat session. Thank you very much.
Thank
you.